So, if you could please hit the like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. So, anyways, I was going through Flashback Monday, and one of my reviews for her came up, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh, SHIT. I need to look and see if she's had a new book this year." And I was like, "Oh, she did. I need to go read." I love Krista Davis. We've done quite a few books on my channel, and I love Sophie and Natasha's little competitiveness. And I love the fact that in the beginning of the book, I'm slowly collecting all of these, by the way. But I love the fact that there's one of these. Oh, come on, computer. There you go. Does the cast of characters. I love that. But we know we've started, we did the Diva Haunts House and all those. So please check out the first one is Thyme. Something with Thanksgiving, when her family comes for Thanksgiving. But anyway, her and Mars are divorced, but they still get along and they still hang out quite a bit together. And Natasha is a friend of hers, and Natasha is trying to get. She had a brief relationship with Mars, and Mars regrets it deeply, but she is still trying to get back together with him after he broke up with her. But he likes hanging out with Sophie, and then Bernie owns the restaurant, and he's living with Mars. And then we have his Aunt Faye. They talk about Mars's Aunt Faye. They talk about her quite a bit. And Natasha, of course, and then Nina, her next door neighbor and friend. And the one thing about Nina, there's been like up-teen books. I think we have seen her husband once in all the books. Her husband's a doctor and he does lots of traveling. I think he's made one appearance. He's always talked about in the off scene. He's at this convention, or he's at this function, or he's at somewheres. But I think there was one time in all these books that he actually was on scene for something. So I love the advice things, and I have a couple little pet peeves I want to bring up later on. And they're constant pet peeves. If you've ever watched me do one of her books, this is my pet peeve all the time. All the time. I love it. I enjoy the heck out of these books. But, Mitzi, this lady, she's an interior designer, and she calls Sophie for a clandestine meeting. She thinks someone's stalking her. And so she goes to meet Mitzi for the meeting, and this other lady, Rachel, ends up deceased. She was murdered. So we get Wolf the cop and Wong the cop, and they do their investigation. And Natasha and Nina both have columns in the newspaper. And my one pet peeve was, I wrote it down. Oh shit, I didn't write down the other one. How bad is me? Wait, let me see if I can find it. But my one... Okay. They do these little letters, advice column thingies in the beginning of all the chapters. And it alternates. Natasha 1, Sophie 1, Natasha 1, Sophie 1. And Sophie always gives really good advice, relatively normal advice. Natasha always gives really far out advice. Dear Sophie, my wife loves pillows. I don't have a problem with them in general. They can be very useful too on afternoon snooze on the sofa. But we have so many pillows on our bed that it has become a 15-minute nightmare to remove them each night. Frankly, I'm tempted to throw them out the window. How do I convince my wife to ditch the pillows? Pillows are wonderful, but sometimes less is more. Your wife is probably trying to bring more texture to your room. Make a deal with her. You'll take her shopping for a fabulous new comforter or duvet, and a small pillow as its accent if she cuts the number of pillows down to 5. Okay? Several chapters later, the person's wife writes to Natasha. Dear Natasha, some whack job told my husband there should be no more than 5 pillows on her bed. It's none of her business, and she clearly knows nothing about decorating. He thinks you're beautiful, and you are, so I know he'll listen to you. And Natasha writes back, there's no limit to the number of pillows. So that's just the contrast in their writing style. So anyways, there's one more pet peeve that we'll get to. I hope I wrote it down. So, like I said, Mitzi contacts Sophie, meet me at the Inger house the next day. They go to the Inger house, and Denise is found dead. So then Wong and them search the house, and everything comes up clean. And then Mitzi calls again, hey, come save me. And Mitzi says, wait a second, let me see if I can get this. It began a little over a week ago. I was walking home after dinner and felt like someone was following me. I kept turning around to check, but never could pinpoint anyone. When I was home, I was fine and forgot all about it, but I have windows on both sides, toward my little garden and towards the street. Later that night, when I was going to bed, I turned off the light and remembered that I'd forgotten to leave dry food out for my cat. I went to the kitchen and set out some food for her so she wouldn't wake me at 2 in the morning. When I returned to my bedroom, I glanced out the window and thought I saw someone hanging out under a streetlight across the street. She seriously thinks that there's someone watching her. And then the Inger family happens to be very wealthy, very generational, and they want her to solve the case. They hire her to solve the case. She says she won't take money. The whole family gathers in the room. And now Mike, who was Denise's husband, is being seriously, absolutely hardcore pursued by Rachel. Rachel isn't waiting even until the girl is buried. Where'd you go? Come here. Come here. Come here. Ow, come here. Come here. Come here. So, she goes to the meal at the house after a lot of people will have people back to the house for buffet type style. Everybody will bring a dish type situation. So she goes over to the house, and the family hires her to do the murder investigation. They offer her money. She says no, but she'll do it anyway. And while she's there, this lady Rachel starts pursuing Mike, major, huge, big time. I mean, gross, totally inappropriate. And she's also going with Mitzi to try and persuade her to give her Denise's job. She wants to take over Denise's life completely, and that makes her sort of a suspect when she wants to climb into this person's shoes, and they haven't even been dead a week. So that's a problem there. Then there's some more investigations going on, and this is one of my pet peeves. Now, I don't know about you. You may be a very talented person. You may have a few more dollars than I do, but I could not do this. Where is it? Oh, no, this is before that. Sorry, this is not what I was talking about. But I wanted to, all right, we'll talk about this first. Sorry. So she has a meal with Mitzi and Nina, and they have, eggs Benedict. No. Let's see. Wait a second. Alright, well, she has, she has waffles and where's the recipe? Wait a second. I made a quick fruit salad with thin slices of crunchy apples and juicy ripe pears, glistening red pomegranate seeds, cantaloupe, grape halves, chunks of walnuts, and some waffles. Now, she just had the waffles. She just had this big breakfast, right? Then she meets Mike for brunch. Not a couple hours later. Now, for me, if I'm eating that big, I'm good for the day. You'll see me at 5 or 6. And she goes out to the restaurant with Matt, and they have eggs Benedict. But that wasn't what I was talking about. Oh, and then Natasha idea of a recipe, and she mentions this in the book. This recipe's mentioned a couple times. And I'm sitting there going, who in the world? I wish I could find the first one. I'm sorry. I didn't write the page number down for the first one. But this lady says, I got roped into having a brunch for out-of-town guests. Buy all the ingredients and alcohol in advance. The night before, prepare overnight French toast that you can bake in the morning. Use my recipe for chocolate hot pepper bread. Who wants hot pepper bread for breakfast? I mean, come on. Really? Prepare a pasta and squid ink? Who wants squid? Ew. Do chicken or bacon or cheese or anything but squid. I mean, come on. That's just So then my point before was, like I said, I don't know about you, but I could not do this. I could not do this if my life depended on it. The 4 of us walked on to my house where I whipped up a quick pan dinner of marinated pork loin with baby potatoes, shallots, carrots, and sweet potatoes. While I chopped up the veggies, Nina made some apple cider cocktails. I slid the tray into the hot oven and half pears for an easy dessert before settling on the banquette to munch on hot hors d'oeuvres that Bernie had prepared from cheese, olives, crackers, and fruit in my fridge. Do you have all this stuff on your fridge at a moment's notice in your fridge? I don't. I really have any of this stuff in my fridge. Even at the holidays, I don't have all this stuff in my fridge. I got a small fridge. Maybe in the olden days, not now, because actually, to tell you the truth, they don't exist anymore. They're all dead. But in the olden days, if someone came over for lunch, we'd run over to the deli. God, I miss delis. I want a deli so bad. I miss my Kaiser rolls and my bacon, egg, and cheese on a Kaiser. And anyways, go get some cold cuts, some boar's head, some ham, some turkey, some roast beef, cheese, macaroni salad, potato salad, maybe coleslaw, some rye bread. There you go. Not this fancy schmancy stuff this chick is doing. I just throw in a pork loin. I am not a throw in the pork loin. Actually, I don't like pork loin. So you wouldn't see that in my house. My mother liked it though. But I'm just not that gourmet. She goes home and prepares these gourmet meals at the drop of a hat. Just whips out this stuff from the contents of her fridge. I don't have any of this stuff in my fridge. I don't. None of it. So anyways, so like I said, Rachel is just throwing herself at Mikey. And then, now, just another, I was sitting there going, what the F? Really? Alright, so, Mitzi and Sophie? Nina, Holly, and Sophie talk about the murder, and they go to the house. They go to the Inger house to investigate, to do some walkthrough. And it looks like someone's been staying there. And then they get into the room and they find Rachel deceased. Okay? So now Rachel's deceased and Denise is deceased. And they're talking about the armoire. And it looks like the armoire was moved a little bit. So they move the armoire and they discover some loose panels. And they open it all up and they find a skeleton. She doesn't call 911. She calls Wolf, and he doesn't respond to his personal phone. And she calls him one, and then she goes home and does her chores, whatever. I'm just going, what were you thinking, woman? You find a skeleton. You don't call 911. You just call Wong a couple times. He doesn't respond. And you go home and go about your business. Thereby giving whoever time to almost a full day, actually probably more than a full day, go back to the house to get the skeleton and move it to a different spot. So that when Wolf finally shows up and they go back to the house and they do all that moving and they open up the hole in the wall and the skeleton's gone and everybody thinks Sophie's crazy, but she's got pictures of it. And then they do some more investigation and they finally find the skeleton and they discover that it's the great-grandfather, the guy that started the whole house situation, and he died in 1969, and they were trying to figure out who murdered the guy in 1969, what happened. They always heard that he had just went off looking for his wife, who disappeared a couple of years earlier, with child, I believe. Don't quote me on that one. So, we have this big mystery to solve. Who killed the guy in 1969? And who killed the two women? And then this guy Thurman, who's Helena's son, and they're very, very wealthy. And her attitude bothers me tremendously. Absolutely tremendously. I'd read the page, but I didn't write the page number down. It's towards the end of the book. But the one day, the woman spends the whole day with her son at the station. And then the next day, she's going about her business, going to the gym, doing her stuff when her son's been arrested. Doesn't even go back to the gym, to the police station or anything. Just assumes that's it, it's over. Because Sophie was nosing around again, and she went to this boutique, and where a purse is on sale that looks like the victim's, and she goes over, takes it off the shelf, and it's the victim's. It has her ID, her money, everything in it. And Thurman comes in, and he just announces he found it in his car, and he thought it was hers, so that's why he brought it to the shop. And that's why they arrest him, because they find both women's purses on the shelves in the shop. And he admits to having found them and put them. He thought they belonged in the store, and this whole other BS story. And then, we have a little twisty-turny. He may not be as guilty as you think he is. He may have been a red herring. There may be something else going on. And who killed the guy in 1969? You'll have to read the book to find out. The Diva poached bad egg. I have no idea what that reference to the title book is, except for the fact that every one of the stories every one of the snippets, except for the pillow situation, and there's one with a fireplace mantle. Most of the snippets of letters are about brunch and people coming for brunch and all the different kind of brunches you can make. So that's probably it too. And Sophie and them are supposed to do a brunch, and Natasha decorates Sophie's front lawn horrendously or hideously. So Sophie has to fix it and tell Natasha, look, And stay away from the squid. Really, no squid casserole. Sorry. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. And they have their big brunch, and they put all red labels, red utensils, and tell people, don't eat the stuff with the red utensils. Hey, let me know if you like the book. I can't believe I was so late in reading this. Almost a year late. And there should be a new one coming out soon, too. I saw an ad for it. I forget what it was, though. But I love Sophie and Mars and Nina and Natasha. I love the little letters in each paragraph. Those just crack me up. 6 ways to Sunday. Have a good one.